really important to have a plan and understand what your goals are.
In fact, my camel out there is suffering right now with a broken back.
So I actually found Pepe when it was only a couple of hours old, and I'm like, oh, this is a funny meme.
Oh my god.
Yo! Who is this Degen?
The old man is swing trading over years at a time. And it's like, that's where the real money is made.
The answer is a permanent loss. With single-sided staking, you don't have to worry about impermanent loss.
But really, at the end of the day, it's just the matter of a macro market. It's just what happens.
If you're aware, if you're disciplined, you can hone that into further financial growth.
Financial freedom, so we can actually live life and not have to be constantly living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, that's the ultimate goal, more or less, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crypto degenerates, ducks and squirrels, welcome to this here episode 69 of the Degen Roundtable, where we're going to be talking about a fast start for Trump's crypto agenda. My name is Will Stevenson. I'm going to be your host for tonight. I am joined by my two fantastic panelists, co-host Mr. Zenith, and our great value technical analyst, Agent J. For the folks at home who don't know or haven't seen any of us before, again, I'm Will Stevenson. I'm an iron worker. I travel around the United States, and in my free time, I like to talk cryptocurrency and self-improvement with assholes such as these gentlemen, as well as yourselves there at home. We've also got Mr. Zenith, the co-host. Zenith, for those of you that don't know, he is something of a budding legal expert. I'm going to say expert, because you've done enough chats with our good friend Nuclear Herbs, and you've gone through the trials and tribulations of reading all these damn documents. So you're something of a government and legal expert on the team. And Agent J over there is our great value technical analyst, self-prescribed. He's the guy that leads us through all the charts and all the talking about the crazy things going on with the Fibonacci's and the RSIs and the stock indicators and all that good stuff in 60-day cycles. And so he'll walk us through all that. But gentlemen, what is new and exciting with you now that we know who each and every one of us are, starting with Zenith? What's up, broski? How you doing?
I am doing well now that we are broadcasting live from the village hidden in the swamps to talk about the 47th Amerikage. Although I will say I was conflicted on the title because he's technically the 45th and 47th Amerikage, but at the same time, like Hiruzen was also technically the 3rd and the 5th, but
yes, he was
actually just Tsunade. Either way, regardless, Hiruzen is still the largest villain in Naruto, but that's besides the point. I will defend that, by the way, all the way down, top to bottom. Homie like Naruto grew up drinking spoiled milk.
The 3rd had to take up the mantle because the 4th got nixed. So I mean, I think it counts. I think it counts. This was I have to tip my hat off to you, my friend, because that was indeed a very 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 clever title. The 47th Amerikage, and instead of Konohamaru, it's Konohamerika.
Hey, there we go.
I wish I knew what you guys were talking about right now. I know almost nothing about Naruto, but I know that this is Naruto stuff because there's the
villages. The village is Konoha, and then the Kages are basically they're like the presidents of each village, right? They're the ones that run the show, hold the most power. Everybody kind of defers to them. So it's pretty on the nose. I think that was pretty clever of Z. So thank you for that.
Hey, look, I mean, we could spend an entire 2 hours trying to explain to Will the deep lore of the Naruto world and the Kage system and the nations and the hidden villages and then even the creation of Ninshu. So we could go into all of it if we really want.
I mean,
that'd be a shit post for episode 69 right there.
Hey, I mean, honestly, guys, we should do some anime episodes at some point in time. Maybe we I don't know. I don't think we have any guests planned for this Wednesday. Do you guys want to do an anime stream this Wednesday instead of doing a Whiskey Wednesday?
You don't got to twist my arm, man. But we have to decide what are we going to show. No One Piece, no Naruto, no great value animes, please. Berserk might get us canceled. Berserk might get us
canceled.
We would probably get canceled if we talked about Berserk.
I mean, we might also get canceled if we talk about High School DxD, but that's
probably going to get canceled with High School DxD as well.
We can talk about them as long as we don't we could just do a general anime stroke. So hey, folks at home, if you guys are watching this on the replay or in the or watching us live, make sure you step on over to our Degen Roundtable Telegram, go into the anime room and tell us which your favorite anime is. So that way we know which ones to talk about and what to cover. Hell, you know, if you guys want to hop on stream and talk about your favorite animes and all the cool stuff that goes on behind them, like I'm thinking that's what we do for this. That's what we do for this Wednesday, because we're gonna be doing some fun stuff. We got anime for Wednesday. We got cooking show with for book club on Friday. I have no idea what we're gonna do next
You beat
Sunday,
me to the
but-
punch on that one. I was also planning on doing a cooking show for that one too.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Oh my God, this is gonna be great. But yeah,
but I guess on Wednesday, Zenith Sama will attempt to defend the animation from Initial D season 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. Moonpill's got a good suggestion. Trigun original, not the new one. The new one is absolute trash.
I haven't seen it. I heard it's fun.
It's fun, but let's just say that they deviate from the source material way too much, and the things that made Vash the things that made Vash a great character, they took that away. And
I heard they changed his personality a bit too.
Yeah. Yep. And it's like the reason why Vash's Stampede was a great character in the original Trident, because he has a lot of depth to him. And they extracted a lot of that in the remake. And it wasn't just with Vash. It was not just with Vash. It was in every single major character involved, right? You think all like I forgot the priest's name. The priest, Millie, all of the characters that had a ton of depth and dimension to them was basically erased in the new one. So that's the that's the short and sweet of it there. But we won't have any spoilers for the people there too.
Yeah.
That is actually,
before we go too far down the rabbit hole, I'm going to reel us back in. And since we were talking about the stuff that the audience at home was talking about, let's go ahead and do a round of motherfucking chat shoutouts, where we make sure to shout out all you guys at home who have all these excellent and outstanding comments. We've got quite the lively chat today. Lots of comments about about some. Oh wait, no. Yep, the Trigun to out. Okay, lots of anime comments and ooh, we actually got some nice and early in the beginning. So let's go ahead and hop on into it.
Yeah,
So it
Hexagon Lost in Asia has actually beat us to the punch today. He knows exactly what we're going to be talking about, and he has posted an excerpt from the executive order coming out on the 23rd talking specifically about crypto. This is from Section 1, Article 1, saying, protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens to access and use for lawful purposes open public blockchain networks without persecution. That is entirely correct, and that has been what the talk of the town has been this week, especially within the Richard Hart community, because it seems that might be exactly what's going on with that SEC case. But All right, Will, take this next one.
Next, we got from the folks at home, we've got Mr. Ken Turian 54X saying, "What's up, Degens? What's up to you too, sir? It is good to see our fantastic and favorite Oregonian pilot rolling on in to do so." Man, dude, I don't know if you can stream from inside a freaking a little plane, but that would be awesome. Streaming from a Cessna while flying around, that'd be cool as hell. But it's good to see you, Kenturian.
Yeah, talking to some of my pilot friends, I thought people were saying that like you can get cell phone service up to about like 5,000 feet above ground level. So theoretically, if you're flying low enough, although that's also dangerous to be streaming as well, because you might hit stuff, but
well, I mean, as long as you're just kind of listening. You got like one headset in for the FAA whatever the hell communications, and then one headset in for the folks at home for the streaming and whatnot. You don't have to be looking at the screen like we do. You could just be talking out your ass. But
that's
I love
fair.
it.
I think that goes right up there with the wild streaming ideas. It's between that and then your idea, I think previously, which was trying to stream from inside of a strip club booth.
Oh yes, I almost did that too. I almost did, but not quite. We didn't have that. I have streamed from a tower. I've almost streamed from several places, accidentally and unpurposely. But that's neither here nor there. We have some more chats to get through. So good to see you, Centurion. Welcome to the show, amigo. Next up, we've got Moonpilled Rational Optics. Degens assemble. Good to see you, Moonpill. Welcome to the stream. A good real life friend of mine. Welcome to the stream, Moonpill. Episode 69. May the jokes begin. It's actually episode 69.420. So it's
I was gonna say next week we gotta redo it and actually like plan for it a little bit better.
Oh yeah,
and call it 69.5, but 69.420 is the much better version of that.
Yep. Agreed.
I like it. It's good to see you though, Moonpill. Welcome to the show.
We also got Betty coming in. So
Betty.
Naruto coin. I would not be surprised if there is a Naruto coin.
There's got to be at least 20, I would imagine. I mean,
Well,
Solana
Betty,
exists.
Betty came in again with the Pepe and Naruto. That's actually a good suggestion. I don't know if it's been made, but it's so easy, right? Once you realize like Naruto's mentor is Jiraiya. Jiraiya was the frog sage, so it's kind of on the nose, right?
Oh, that would be perfect, actually.
That'd be so perfect if nobody's already made it. Although for me, like the line that always stands out to me in Naruto is when he yells "Datebayo Sasuke." So I'm like, I need a Datebayo, Datebayo coin.
There are multiple Naruto coins. There's an Ethereum version. It looks like a few Solana versions, at least for just the ticker Naruto. Let's see, Datebayo. Nope, I don't see anything for Datebayo.
Dragon Ball
DB,
Z
DB Coin Z.
That's wild.
Oh,
that's
man.
actually good too. Hey,
I don't know
got
who
another
this is that Moonpilt's
Yeah,
talking
Wolfwood.
about. Preacher Nicholas Wolfwood. Who is that?
He's
That
he's this preacher in Trigon who carries around this cross that's in like wrappings, and then the cross itself is a giant gun, and some of the limbs also are armories with a bunch of other guns inside of it.
Yep,
it's pretty metal.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and Wolfwood is one of the best supporting characters ever, especially his relationship with Millie. But again, in the new one, they kind of just threw all of that out the window. So
bummer.
So I can't recommend it, man.
Well, you get that sometimes. I do like. I have watched the One Piece that's on either anime or not anime. It's on
The live action
Netflix.
version.
Yeah, the live action. And that's where I started my One Piece story. Like, I've never read any of the manga. I've not seen any of the actual anime stuff. So whenever I get into something, I like to watch the one that everyone hates the most first. So that's like my baseline of expectation.
Well,
And then as I
you
go,
made a mistake. You made a
What's that?
mistake because One Piece is not the one that everybody likes to hate on it, but One Piece is the most successful manga ever created. Like the
Longest
the
running
difference
for sure.
The difference between he just overtook Conan in chapters. So in Conan's like 1,200 chapters already. So I mean, Oda's still going, but the difference in magnitude between the amount of sales Oda Sensei has had with One Piece and the number 2, it's like it's not even close. So people like to hate it because the fan base is like it's the best thing since sliced bread. And Oda Sensei, kudos to him because he obviously captured the market. So you have to give it to the man. But One Piece does not have a lot of depth in terms of writing. So it's good for what it is. People hate the fan base because they think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. And even Oda Sensei has come out and said, sometimes I don't even know where I'm going in my
That's
writing.
not a good thing.
I thought it was okay. It's decent. Like, there's nothing fancy with it, but it was fun.
One Piece is
I think there's only
inherently
8 episodes.
A coming of age hero's journey type of story, right? It's pirates, the ocean, you got powers, you got like searching for treasure. It's a classic coming of age hero's journey. Oda Sensei just, he was able to capture people's attention. And what do we always talk about in crypto, right? Attention is currency. So I mean, you can't knock Oda Sensei because the guy is the best selling author of all time in terms like manga, like the best selling mangaka of all time. So you can't take that away from him. So
that's true. I will say though, Will, if you are a fan of the most hated version of things, then you're right at home because you're a Berserk fan.
Yep, I am a Berserk fan. Yeah, so I started Berserk watching the 2017 one first, which everyone hates. And then from there, I went to the one that was 3 movies that they then made into a 25 episode series. And then after that, I watched the 97 edition, which is just like absolutely terrible as far as animation goes, but they capture the story a lot better. And then I watched the 25 episode series that they remade the 3 movies into, and I thought it was pretty good. And then after all of that, I bought all the, like, you guys can't see it right now, but freaking I bought all of the volumes up there. So that was my guilty pleasure because I'm a sucker for a good story. So I like watching the thing that's the worst first. So that way I have a good expectation. And then whenever I see something else, I'm not like disappointed by the movie. That'll happen a lot when you
Since we're
Ooh.
on the
Yeah. I love it.
Too
That
bad
is
the eyes
beautiful.
don't glow in the dark. Otherwise,
Yeah.
that would have been
That'd be dope.
pretty fucking dope.
That's freaking awesome, dude. I love it. Oh, we've got one more, or we've got a couple more comments that I want to get to. We got M Rock Jockey saying, "Good evening, gents. Good evening to you, M Rock Jockey. Welcome to the stream, broski. Good to see you, Mr. Ock Jockey. One of these days, I'm gonna figure out how to say your name, but I kind of like not knowing. It's like there's almost a mystique to it, or I always think I'm probably doing the wrong thing. And then we've got Mr. Betty again. New Bleach Blood War. I don't know what that means. Is that another? Is that
Mhm.
another?
Yeah,
So
Bleach
Bleach,
is,
Bleach is
Bleach
an
was
older
part of
anime.
the-
Sorry, go for it.
Yeah, Bleach was part of the big three. I think personally speaking, if you were going to compare Bleach, One Piece, and Naruto, I think Kubo Sensei definitely has the upper hand in terms of depth and quality of writing. And then the 1,000-Year Blood War arc is the latest installation for Bleach, and that one I would say that's Kubo at his finest, because he has his limiters off, right? He was very constricted as to what he could do with the series. In the very beginning, when he was still starting out, he was basically at the mercy of the studio. But now that he's got money, he's obviously, and he has a little bit more pull in the industry. He can could basically write the way that he wants to write, and that's why he continued it with the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. And I would say it's probably one of the better arcs in across the big three. So definitely recommend Bleach in that aspect.
Yeah, Bleach out of the big three is also the one that like canonically just has like the most drip. Like if there ever was one of them that inspired the most streetwear, or just like had that fashion and that vibe, just had that it factor, it was Bleach for sure. Gosh, when was the last Bleach animation before 1,000-Year Blood War? I want to say it was like almost a decade.
It's a while, man. But yeah, Kubo's known for his Kubo likes to make his character stylish. So you are correct. The Bleach drip is definitely something that the series is very well known for.
For sure. I mean, it is cool. Like, do you have a favorite one of the captains? I feel like everyone like Hitsugai is cool, but I feel like it's a little vanilla.
Oh, Aizen.
Aizen, what? Wait, you're not gonna give me Kenpachi? Come on. Okay,
I mean, I like Kenpachi, but Aizen was the one that really caught me off guard when we turned
Zaraki Kenpachi.
Yeah,
Zaraki Kenpachi. Will, do you know about this absolute Giga Chad?
Bro, here's the thing, right? Is Kenpachi is like the most. He's like the alpha. Like he is the proxy for the alpha male in Bleach, which is why I always harp on Ken. I was like, bro, you need to change your handle, because Kenpachi would be ashamed that you're using his name.
A little bit, yeah. Will, for reference here, Kenpachi is just this absolute Chad of a dude that rose through the ranks to be the captain of one of the 13 divisions. Typically, the way you do that is you either you get like a sword in this universe, and then it has like a soul, and you can kind of connect with the soul. And then if you do that, you can start using techniques that are like kind of like magic powers that are unique to that sword effectively. And then if you get really, 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 really good, you do this thing called a Bankai, which is like the ultimate manifestation of that power. Yeah, this dude did none of those things. He literally just became a captain just out of like pure brute strength, just beating the absolute piss out of everybody.
It
to the
like
point where like
Statue of Liberty.
A little bit, but like the funny thing is that like everybody else has like very cool swords, and they have like fun names and like little flair and stuff. His sword is just a sword that looks like someone beat it against a steel rod for like 100 years, and that's what it is, because he literally just beats the piss out of things with it, and they're just like, yeah, you are just like too strong for everybody else around here. Like, you're a captain now. Congrats.
Yeah, Kenpachi Will is the stereotypical. He wants to fight for the good fight, right? He wants a good fight just by virtue of it being a good fight. He likes looking for stronger opponents. He's that archetype of character in Bleach.
He's like Zod in the Berserk.
Superman?
No, in Berserk. The Berserk Zod.
Oh yeah. There you go. Right. It's like Goku in a sense. Like Goku, he just likes to fight because he wants to fight stronger people. Right. He's that archetype of character. Yeah.
This is
but yeah, I mean, within the original, I mean, within the set, yeah, Kenpachi for sure. But Aizen has my vote because he's the one that caught me off guard when he turned heel.
This content.
content.
Well, stay
indeed.
tuned for Wednesday, guys, because we will get fucking smacked down on into it, and we will nerd out super deep on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So that's
If
going to
that's
be a
the
good
case, I will force myself to watch the rest of Neon Genesis Evangelion. Yeah, I've got through like 5 or 6 episodes, and I just kind of got stuck or distracted rather. So yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Let's give the folks a little bit of what they came here for today, and we'll save the anime sauce for Wednesday, guys. Tune in on Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we're gonna have our anime show. So that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see how that turns out. But for now, let's should we do a quick market update, or do you want to start off with the executive orders? Z, how you want to rock and roll with this bad boy? Because we got a lot of good stories here. But I think starting with
let's cover markets, because once we start hitting the executive order, it's going to start flowing into all the other articles.
Okay.
So if we can just do a quick, brief market update, and spoiler alert, not much has happened in the last week, which is kind of odd, other than just like a lot of volatility and a lot of wicked candles, but price has not really moved outside of that like $102,000 area to like 108. Yeah.
My man
all right,
said
Jay,
market update.
I see you, sir. Let's get you going.
All right. Well, I'll try to be expeditious in my analysis, but you know, quick is not my forte when it comes to analysis. So we'll go over the 60-day cycles first. Currently, we are on day number 14. Right, we just started the new candle day of the Bitcoin 60-day cycles with a high here on day number 7. As we went over during last week's multiple Telegram streams. You want to get in on that, scan the QR code, hop into Telegram, and you'll be able to access those Telegram exclusive content. Free for now, but you better get in there. Otherwise, you might not be able to get grandfathered in. But as we were mentioning, when we took this, when we took our all-time high, right? We flipped from a predominantly bearish scenario, right, into now the court is now once again back on the side of the bulls, right? So as it stands right now, because of the amount of volume coming along with us taking the all-time highs, right? The ball is back squarely within the bull side of the court, and this is basically their game to lose now, right? Because the momentum have shifted once again back in favor of the bulls, right? Especially since over the past few weeks we were considering the possibility, right? And at the time, it was a very strong possibility that we were going to have a left translated Q1 to start off the year, right? Because we swept the lows over here, right? This was when Bitcoin hit 89,000, and we were already at day 70 at that point. And so we were really leaning heavily towards giving the favor over to the bears. But once the bulls came back, took the all-time high, accompanied by a serious amount of volume, then that basically opened up the rest of the quarter for interpretation once again, right? Obviously, even though the momentum is squarely on the side of the bulls at this moment, it could still go either way. The bulls were able to just grab the momentum a bit more strongly, right? And so if we're looking at a right translated cycle, then the game is pretty simple, right? You'll be looking for a high all the way up and past day 30, right? And then in terms of time, then you're looking for this cycle to end sometime in early March, right? So if we extrapolate all the way to your 60 days, then we are looking at the second week of March to round off this current 60-day cycle, right? Whether we get a right translated or a left translated cycle, you'll be looking for the cycle to terminate around the 14th of March. Okay, so how about now in terms of price? What can we expect in terms of price for both the bulls and the bears? You guys are going to be, it's not going to be news to you, but as I always say, an analyst always has to have both a bullish and bearish scenario, right? Because if you don't, like let's say you're a permabull and the bears flip it on its head, then you don't have a bearish scenario. How are you going to pivot? Right? Where is your stop loss? You don't want to be caught riding price all the way back down to new all-time lows in the bear market, if that is the case. So you always have to have a bullish and bearish scenario. So let's go over the bearish scenario first. Let's go back down into the 4-hour chart. Get a little bit more granular. Turn off our 60-day cycles. And the bearish of most bearish scenarios is a flat in a sideways double combo, very complex corrective scenario, right? So your wave W, right, in a larger degree, and X are in, and we are looking for the end of your Y, right? And if we get a left translated cycle, then this is going to be your most likely scenario to cap off your wave 4, right? Your macro wave 4, before we head into price discovery to the upside and hit new all-time highs, right? And so within your wave Y, what you are looking for, right, is a flat, right? A flat meaning a 3-wave move in your A, a 3-wave move in your B, and then a 5-wave move in your C to complete that wave Y. And within your B wave, right, this orange B wave in a smaller degree, we are looking for the C of that B wave. Now, here's the thing for both the bears and the bulls. The unfortunate reality for the bears is no matter which way, no matter how you look at it, right? Even if you're looking at the bear scenario, you are still looking for this move to bring us towards new all-time highs, right? The only difference is once we get to that new all-time high, we come back down, right? You grab liquidity at new all-time highs. You come back down and sweep your $89,000 low, grab liquidity there before continuation of the bull market up and to the right. Me and Tracker always have this conversation behind the scenes. We always laugh at how people get liquidated out of positions because they get scared when market makers do what they tend to do, which is play these liquidity games, right? And so what is our price targets for the upside in this scenario before we head back down and to complete our Y of our wave 4? Well, the common target for that wave C is as follows. It's going to be your 1-for-1 fib extension taken from the start to the end of your A to the end of your B, if this is indeed the end of your B. Actually, let me adjust that slightly. All right, because we are getting some new lows here locally. And the 1-for-1 extension puts us at $120,000. That would mark the end of your C wave, which would mark the end of the B wave in larger degree, right? In orange. And then head back down. All right. So the 1-for-1 at $120,000 is my primary target. Obviously, we can overshoot it slightly or undershoot it slightly, but this is your most common extension for this move. Right? It's going to look something like this, right? You're looking for a 3-wave in your A, 3-wave in your B, which would complete this move here, and then another 5-wave sequence to finish your Y. Now, do we have to sweep the lows for our Y? And if we're talking about probabilities here, right? On a balance of probabilities, the most common flat pattern is an expanding flat, right? Where the end of your B, let me turn that back on, where the end of your B extends past where your A started, and then your C wave extends past where your A wave ended, right? This is your most common flat scenario in an expanding flat. Now, can it be a running or irregular flat, right? Where your C wave does not extend beyond the end of your A? Absolutely. However, within the 3 flat patterns, right? Your regular flat, your expanding, and your irregular, or running in this case, right? It's also called a running flat. Your running flat is your rarest form, right? And so unless we have eliminated all other possibilities, we are not going to assume that we are getting a running flat, right? In this case, if it is a running flat, we don't have to sweep the lows here at $89,000. We could just come down, probably back around either the top or the bottom range of the support around $91,600 before continuation to the upside, right? But your most common scenario is that we sweep the lows, finish the wave 4, and then head back up, right? That's why it's hilarious, because during imagine this happening, right? So you get into your all-time highs, you fake everybody out, grab liquidity there, right? Giga dump us back down, sweep the lows, hit the stops, grab liquidity here, and then continue to the upside. This is something that market makers love to do, which is why we always encourage that you have a plan for both the bad and the good, right? So you don't get caught off sides. So that is for your bearish scenario. Now, for the bullish scenario, let's go back. Let's head down lower into the 1 hour time frame. Bullish scenario, pretty simple. You have a wave 1 here in green completed. And now we are looking for the completion of your wave 2. All right, your wave 2, surprisingly, very uncharacteristic of the wave 2, but you have to analyze it in terms of structure. And what we have here in terms of structure is another sideways complex double combo, right? And a WXY. So we have your W in, your X is in, your X was a triangle. Right? And then your Y, from the looks of the structure here and the amount of volume coming in on the daily candle, it looks like this is a zigzag, right? A 5-wave move down, 3-wave move corrective structure up, and then another 5-wave impulsive move to the downside, right? Something along these lines. And so your targets for your Y, right? We already hit the minimum at $102,400. Now, this last leg, right, the wave C, can extend all the way as far as 100 to the 1.618 extension, all the way back down to the 2.618, right? All of that is fair game. Now, we do have some support here horizontally in confluence with the 1.618 at 100,600, and obviously $100,000 is a psychological number, right? Psychological level. And so I would like the bulls to come and step in here at about $100,000. Right? What is your invalidation for this move? Well, the invalidation for this move is as follows. You take a fib retracement, take it from the start to the end of your wave 1. The invalidation is the 886. If the 886 is hit at $91,054, then we have to reconsider the structure that we are playing with. Right? So that is the invalidation for this move. However, you can see that we have a very, very, very long ways to go. And so the bears do have their work cut out for them. Right? In order to hit that invalidation. In terms of time, we are well within what is reasonable for your wave 2, right? We just passed the 1-for-1 fib extension in terms of time. Okay? That is not uncommon. And so we are well within the boundaries for when this wave 2 can potentially end, right? So again, just take these into consideration. Your invalidation here at $91,054, right? If this were to extend, here are your more common levels, right? We're looking for between the 0.5 and the 0.786, which puts us at around $97,400, and then $92,660, right? We did already hit a rare target for your wave 2 over here at 99,440, but your more common retracements for a wave 2 is between the 0.5 and the 0.786, right? Now, because this is a sideways double combo, right? It is a sideways ranging structure. It is not uncommon for this thing to just hit the 382. So us hitting the 382 is perfectly fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that, right? Especially since, again, we are in a sideways ranging correction pattern. All right. So just keep those levels in mind. But unless the bears can push us all the way back down to that $91,000 level, then the bulls are still in square control of this market, right? And that should do it for both your bullish and your bearish scenario. Again, the momentum is on the bulls side, right? Once again, just a reminder, we took the all-time highs here, accompanied by a significant amount of volume, which is exactly what you like to see. In terms of support to the downside, right? There are some interesting levels here. On the daily, you have a point of control here at $99,650. However, more interestingly, we also have another weekly point of control here at 94,500. Right. So I expect 94,500 to serve as a significant amount of support, especially because that is a weekly point of control, right? Your weekly point of control, or just a point of control in general, is the price range, right? Where the most amount of volume occurred, trading volume occurred for that time frame, right? So 94,500, a very interesting point of support for the bulls. And that is what we have for Bitcoin. Z, anything to add?
You're muted, amigo. But nice try.
The only thing that I would have to add would be the moving averages. Entirely correct and all that stuff. It does seem where that we're kind of ranging right now. And something I pointed out earlier is it seems that we're kind of in a weird, like, ranging but volatile time, which is that if you look at these candles, there's massive wicks either direction on the daily chart, which means that the price is fluctuating a good bit, like almost up to like $6,000 in a single day. And it does that repeatedly. The thing that I'm looking at with the moving averages, though, is that we recently had the 20-day moving average get above the 50-day moving average, which leads me to believe that it is bullish, correct. But with the last 3 days, we're seeing that we're actually going to come down and we're starting to approach this 20-day moving average. So the question is, are we going to use it as support, or are we going to break down through, and is structure going to break down towards the bearish scenario? I personally happen to think that there's a good chance we will use it as support and can continue to run up just because of everything coming out in the news right now. Yep. A lot of the foreseen stuff, like you were talking about earlier, we had a good amount of volume when we made that new all-time high, and it just time-based, macro time-based for me, which is that based on the 4-year cycle, we are in the time where we're not like stupid bullish yet, but we're definitely bullish. So yep. I'm expecting more to the upside, and I'm expecting something to beat that day 7 cycle high, whether it's the next week, whether it's a month from now, who knows? But at the same time, though, all the indicators for me personally are showing that, yeah, this is the time in the cycle to be bullish.
Yeah. I actually like the fact that we are in this very sideways consolidation range, right? Which is characteristic. That's why it's called a sideways double combo. In L, you exist within that range. I actually like the fact that we are ranging because it's giving you a little bit more time to enter those positions before we really start shooting up, right? Again, we are bullish right now. Okay, there's you guys know my stance on these things. When it was time to be short-term bearish, I was short-term bearish, and I built a pretty strong case for the bears. But during this move up, we hit new all-time highs accompanied by volume. Now we're getting the structure to add on to that narrative. Then you have to flip bullish, right? So again, you always have a bearish and a bullish scenario, but momentum is on the side of the bulls as it stands. So even if we drop down, we have the bottom of the range, right? We haven't even hit the middle of that range yet. Okay. So you have the middle of the range of support, and then you have the bottom of that range of support. And it's good to be moving sideways before the next leg up, right? Because you build a large base of support. Otherwise, right, even though, like, let's say we got a quick bullish impulse, right, all the way up to $120,000, and we didn't create any of this base of support, then what you're going to have is a very large gap in between those moves, right? And unless you're somebody who catches the very top of that move and actually takes some profits, then on the way back down is going to be extremely painful. So the fact that we're ranging sideways right now is good for several things. You're able to dollar cost average into those positions that you want more of, and then it's basically acting as a spring. But instead of a spring coiling this way, it's a spring coiling this way, right? Sideways. So you're building that strong base of support for the next move back up, right? And I know it could be like jarring to see Bitcoin make these $6,000, $8,000 moves on the daily. But remember, we are at $100,000 Bitcoin. A 5% move means $5,000. A 10% move means $10,000. So get used to it. It's part and parcel being the 6 fucking figures. All right. So gang, we are the post-halving year. We officially have a right translated 4-year cycle. Do not make the mistake of fumbling your damn bags right now. You will regret it. You will regret it. Be careful.
Very true. Yeah. Any other tokens you want to take a quick look at?
I mean, I've been talking, so if you want to talk, if we want to talk about Ethereum, we can talk. We can look at Ethereum. Otherwise,
Sure,
we're 40 minutes in. We should probably
Yeah, Ethereum. Interesting stuff personally, because it looks like, again, our moving averages are not in the place that I would like them to be right now. So all of that talk me 2-3 weeks ago about how I'm excited for Ethereum showing strength for the first time ever this cycle. Yeah, it's that might be a fleeting feeling, shall we say. Because yeah, Ethereum's at $3,200 right now. We're below the 20-day, we're below the 50-day. We are above the 200-day moving average, so it's some hope there. RSI, I hope that the RSI can continue to build instead of keep making these higher or lower highs on the RSI. So it does match the chart though, which is that price was higher in the past, RSI was higher in the past as well. So everything is it's in alignment there. I'm just hoping to see that Ethereum actually starts making some moves here and we actually start to see a little bit more volume, because the volume is all right, but we definitely had way more volume back in November, December, as opposed to anything going on around here. But that's my 2 cents on that. If anything, I think that Solana is actually in a stronger position right now, and there was an absolute anomaly.
That's the understatement of the year.
What?
The past 2 years.
That Solana's looking good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, considering that Donald Trump alone, with the launch of a meme token, created this candle right here. That is purely just from the Trump meme coin going on over on the Solana chain. That is entirely what that was. The pumpamentals for Solana, despite being, what is it, like the 3rd or 4th largest chain in the space, yeah, it can still absolutely spike massively based on outside factors. Granted, it took possibly the most famous man in the world to launch a crypto token that was long awaited, but at the same time, it's undeniable. It's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got to give credit where credit is due. Solana captures the zeitgeist through meme coins, and no matter however which way you feel about that, chart doesn't lie, price doesn't lie, gains don't lie. In terms of Ethereum, can we share my screen here real quick, Zenith? I just want to remind people once again, stop focusing on price. This is what you need to focus on. ETH Bitcoin. All right. Ethereum
Ratio
broke out of this channel and swept the lows not too long ago, right? This was a few days ago. Let's see what was the exact date where Ethereum once again swept the lows against its Bitcoin valuation, the 13th of January. Now, we are still within the timeline that Ethereum could once again make more new lows against Bitcoin, right? What are your targets? Well, for me personally, me and Dace spoke about this extensively over the last few months, because we really wanted to shift people's attention to not just looking at the US dollar valuation, but looking at assets in terms of their valuation against Bitcoin. Look at where we're sitting, where we found support. Smack dab right in the golden pocket. Golden pocket, ladies and gentlemen. The 618 is a great area to accumulate more Ethereum if you don't have any more. Now, again, is it possible that we go all the way to the 786 here at the 0.023 evaluation? Absolutely. But the 618 is not a bad area to accumulate, man. Right? Ethereum right now is hovering at 0.031. Our target for the low end was 0.03. And so, like, Ethereum really has its work cut out for it, right? But again, getting support here at the golden pocket, that's a good sign. But can it maintain support? Yet to be determined. Right.
Quick question for you, Jay.
Yeah.
And this is kind of sort of for the folks at home who don't really understand what you're doing. You just drew a Fibonacci, right? And when you draw a Fibonacci, you go from the previous low to the previous high, and you look at those numbers, and that's oftentimes where you will find things, right?
Yep. So from swing low here.
Yep.
To swing high.
Is it always that way, or does it ever go the other direction?
Yes. If you're looking at moves to the upside, then you take it from swing high to swing low. For example, if this were the bottom, right? If we found support and this is the bottom at the 618, then your target, all right, you take from the swing high to swing low.
This is presuming it starts reversing, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Let's see. If we were to extrapolate, before I do that, actually, right, from last cycle, what did Ethereum retrace to last cycle? So at the very peak of last cycle, Oh no, this was the top of 2018 before that bear market. So let's go by the 2018. At 2018, it peaked at the 1.236 fib retracement. Okay. So if we were to use 2018 as a guide, if we were to retrace back up to the 1.236, then you are looking at Ethereum to run up to the point, so 10%. So this is about 11% of a Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right. So if Bitcoin runs up to $20,000, $200,000. Sorry. If Bitcoin is up at $200,000, then you can expect Ethereum to be at around $22,000. Not too shabby, right? Not too freaking shabby. If you were expecting Bitcoin to hit around the $150,000 area that we've been speaking about consistently here on over the past year or so, right? $150,000 seems to be a very common target for a lot of folks. Then you could expect Ethereum, if we were run up to the 1.236 retracement, then that would put Ethereum at about 16,500, right? Plus change. Still not too shabby. So that's how you would use it in the other direction, Will.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
Yes. ETH Bitcoin ratio, gang. Stop looking at the US dollar valuation, please.
Oh, you do it. There you go. You got it. Zenith and I are both sitting in the producer chair, so you will catch us clicking the same thing. Also, you're muted, by the way, Zenith, if you were speaking there.
Well, it's better than me talking over you.
Gotcha.
I was gonna say we're already reaching for the salt shaker at the same time at the table, but no need to be yelling at each other too. All right. Overall thoughts on the market and where we're at right now. I think it's kind of odd that I feel conflicted because it seems a lot of the projects that I've been watching are not doing as well as I thought they would be at this time. Like I'm looking at Illuvium, which is down at almost $30, which is looking like it might make an new all-time low for this cycle, which I'm not thrilled about because I thought that was the number one GameFi play in the space. On top of that, Phantom is down all the way to 50 cents again. And then on top of that, some of my AI plays like Fetch are down pretty much like 50, 60% from their highs back in March. And the question is like, what is going on with the altcoin space right now? I've been trying to do some research between on the altcoin space and the potential altcoin season coming up here shortly. And it seems that a lot of people are having similar sentiments to that I am, which is that we thought an altcoin season probably would have happened by now, or there at least would have been a little more stability in the altcoin prices, as then they would have gone up and maybe stayed there for a bit. But we've seen a lot of retracement lately. So it could mean one of two things. One is it's just a great buying opportunity, or two is that altcoins seem to be not doing as well as we go further into the future just because there's so many of them. Therefore, the amount of capital that gets concentrated in individual altcoins is spread out so far that it doesn't appear to be pumping anything significantly. Yeah. Am I crazy here? Or am I just getting a little too emotional over the charts?
That's a sentiment in crypto Twitter, that's for sure. But I think a lot of these people, this is their first 4-year cycle, and they haven't had the opportunity to overlay this 4-year cycle to other 4-year cycles. And anybody who's been here multiple 4-year cycles will tell you that altcoins tend to run in the post-halving year, right? You don't get true alt season until the post-halving year. That is compounded by the fact that like you mentioned, Z, the space is now overly saturated with altcoins, which means your favorite altcoin is not going to get the kind of market share of capital like it was back in, like 10 years ago when there were only a handful of altcoins. Okay? Which is why we always encourage people that you have to be a little bit more vigilant when choosing the projects you want to invest in. Because, unfortunately, you cannot just throw spaghetti at the wall anymore and expect something to stick. Those times are done. There are over 1 million different crypto tokens and coins out there now, and more are being created every single day. And if you throw spaghetti at the wall, you will be wrecked. Sorry, you're not going to be the special snowflake story that puts $100 in a Solana meme coin and ends off riding into the sunset with a 7-figure bag. Sorry. That time is it is now the time where you have to do a little bit more work, right? We are still at the bleeding edge of this, this frontier. That's for certain. However, we're not going to be able to get the benefits of the pioneers. I'm sorry, gang. Right? Like that's just the unfortunate reality. So, it is the post-halving year. Historically speaking, this is when the altcoins tend to start running against Bitcoin. So just be patient, man.
That's fair. Yeah, it's crazy to think we're coming up 1 year from the last halving here in about 3 months, actually, because it's going to be April 20th or April 19th if you don't live in Greenwich Mean Time. Yeah. But yeah, we're coming up. It's wow. This is actually flown by very, very quickly, in my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, tell you what, Will, let's do one round of the chat shoutouts and we'll get to the meat and potatoes of tonight. So, with that being said, folks, we're glad you're here. We want to hang out with you too.
Upside down.
Chat, motherfucking shoutouts, babies. Let's see what we got. So, starting off, we've got this fantastic gentleman, a true degen, Mr. Gaines by Casey. Good to see you, amigo. A good real life friend of mine. Worked out with him a few times. He does some great stuff up there at his gym and teaching folks how to do better jobs lifting weights and stuff. Good to see you, Mr. Casey. He says, "What's up, degens? What's up to you too, sir?" Nothing much going on with us tonight. Just talking about some anime, talking about some technical analysis, and then we're about to start talking about some stuff going on up at the government level. So that's what we got going on. Next up, we got Mr. Hex G Banger, bro. We are in class right now, alpha class. You're absolutely
that's right. That was for Jay's TA.
Yep.
If you want more, sir, this is the first time I'm seeing you on stream, so welcome. If this is indeed your first time, scan that QR code, jump into Telegram. We stream almost on a day-to-day basis, right, in the Telegram. So if you like this kind of stuff, and in the Telegram is where we get more into the weeds. We talk about different altcoins as well. And I see Hex in your handle. There's a lot of Hexicans in our Telegram. We cover Hex and the Richard Hart ecosystem quite often. So you'll feel right at home.
Excellent. Good to see you, Mr. Hex G Banger. And like Agent Jay was saying, you guys can hop on over into the Degen Roundtable Telegram. I've gone ahead and dropped the link into the live chats to the side. For those of you that are listening on audio, it is t.me/DRT join now. Just type that into your URL at the top of the screen. That'll bring you right on over to our Telegram.
Yeah. Hey, next, you know who just joined? I just saw it on my screen. Betty just joined our Telegram.
Oh,
welcome, Betty.
Betty. Aloha, Betty. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you, amigo. Excellent. And then carrying right along with the chat shoutouts, we've got none other than Hex Glenn, a good audience member of the Degen Roundtable. We love to see you, Mr. Hex Glenn. He says, "Hey, fam, what's up to you, good sir? Glad that we could have you with us on this fine Sunday evening." Then after that, everyone's favorite Julian of the Trailer Park Boys, but for the Degen Roundtable, Mr. Funkmaster Hex. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Good evening to you too, sir. I have a skull full of coffee right now, but I gotta do some talking, so I can't drink until it's done. Until I'm done with the chat shoutouts and stuff. But good to see you, Mr. Funkmaster Hex. Welcome, welcome to the stream. After that, we've got Charlie Mike Foxtrot, Mr. CMF. Aloha, hola. Good to see you, CMF. I think I know who that is, but I'm not going to dox you. Welcome, welcome to the stream, amigo. Good to have you with us here today. I hope that you are doing excellent things over where you're at. Again, not going to dox you, but always glad to see my good friend CMF. Welcome, welcome. And then I believe that covers it for the new chat shoutouts as far as people that have joined. Again, for the folks at home who don't know, we stream every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday over here on youtube.com/@Degen Roundtable. And y'all can catch us here starting 8 o'clock, generally up to 10 p.m. Eastern. So that's where you can find us. That's some stuff going on. And we've got a special comment here from Mr. Moonpilled Raptional Optics. What can I say? There's a reason we're on the most wanted list by the Interpol dancers. That's absolutely right. Not only does Interpol go around and do some I don't want to say fantastic crime fighting, but they go and make up some crimes and then they arrest people for them. But they also do dancing in their off time. So go check them out over at the Interpol strip club. You guys can find them. I think they're generally right next to Waffle Houses. So go check them out. Go see what they're up to.
But Europe could do good with a few extra Waffle Houses over there. They could learn a thing or two.
Yep. I learned the other day that there's actually a FEMA rating system for whether or not Waffle Houses close down or whether they're operational. So that's pretty awesome.
It's how you know how bad it really is out there.
Yep. Is Waffle House closed? Okay. It's not really an emergency if Waffle House is closed. And they call in they get volunteer Waffle House workers to come in from neighboring areas to go work the Waffle House while the locals that are dealing with the floods and the earthquakes and whatever the hell take care of their family business and stuff. So Waffle House is pretty cool. I do like that. I do like that Southern Hibachi. They're a good business model, and I've never once regretted. Yeah, that's what they are, man. Southern Hibachi. You got to watch it. You get to watch your food made right in front of you. Get some of those T-bones that they don't have on the menu, but they do exist. Order you some steaks and eggs, and that's all you need. Oh, we've got another gentleman showing up on the tail end of the chat shoutouts. We got none other than Mr. Niles Jenkins. Ahoy, mates! Ahoy to you too, good sir, Mr. Niles Jenkins. Welcome to the stream. Glad that we could have you with us here tonight. You missed it, broski. We were talking about anime earlier. I can't remember if you're an anime fan or not, but
Niles, he's a fucking weeb, bro.
That's what I thought. I was making sure I wasn't getting him mixed up with another gentleman. Oh, and speaking of folks rolling in at the last minute from the Telegram, we've got Mr. Jonathan. Hi, boys. Hello, Mr. Jonathan. Welcome to the stream, amigo.
My fellow Islander.
Yep. There we go. Lots of Islanders out here today. We love it. Lots of anime fans. Lots of people that are fans of Trump's executive orders. Lots of people that are fans of everything. Speaking of Trump's executive orders. What a smooth transition I have made. Mr. Zenith, do we have some stuff about orders that we can bring up?
Yes, we do. That's right, folks. All right, time to get to the meat and potatoes here. Obviously, the 47th Amerikage has now been in office for about 6 days now, I want to say. And a lot has been accomplished so far. I want to say close to 100 executive orders have happened already, although a lot of them were rescinding old executive orders, one of which we will get to in this one as well. But this is the big one for the crypto community outside of the pardoning of Ross Ulbricht, which we will get to later. That is the founder of Silk Road, by the way, who a lot of people, including me, think he was unjustly convicted and unjustly punished on top of it as well. So he's free. He's actually thanked Donald Trump himself, but we'll cover that article actually in a little bit. Right now, though, we're talking about the meat and potatoes, which is this one. From the desk of the president, we have executive order on January 23rd, 2025, strengthening American leadership in digital financial technology. By the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, and in order to promote United States leadership in digital assets and financial technology while protecting economic liberty, it is hereby ordered as follows. Section 1. A, the digital asset industry plays a crucial role in innovation and economic development in the United States, as well as our nation's international leadership. It is therefore the policy of my administration to support the responsible growth and use of digital assets, blockchain technology, and related technologies across all sectors of the economy, including by, here we go, the big one, top and center here, Section 1, Article 1, protecting and promoting the ability of individual citizens and private sector entities alike to access and use, for lawful purposes, open public blockchain networks without persecution, including the ability to develop and deploy software, to participate in mining and validating, to transact with other persons without unlawful censorship, and to maintain self-custody of digital assets. There you go. It does continue a ways down, talking about how they're going to do it, but that right there, in my personal opinion, is a very good summary of this entire executive order, which is that in very definitive and clear language, Donald Trump is saying, yeah, we want to bring crypto to the United States, and we want to protect your self-custody rights and your ability to interact with crypto projects. Shout out to Hexagon Lost in Asia. He beat us to the punch on this one and posted the Section 1 Article 1 there in the chat as our first Degen of the evening. So shout out to you, good sir. You obviously know what's up. By the way, folks, I did what I think is honestly one of the best streams I've ever done over on RH Max's channel on Friday. I had the absolute pleasure of streaming with Nuclear Herbs, who is a good friend of mine, and our boy RH Max, and we covered this exact thing, what it means for the Richard Hart ecosystem, and a lot of other stuff, including just some basic constitutional ideas and how we would interpret certain things if we were on the Supreme Court or in these places of high authority. But the point is this. This is a very pleasant surprise in my personal opinion. I did not expect crypto to be this far up on the agenda for the Trump administration, and he is showing that all those promises he made, he's taking them very seriously, and he's trying to make good on them as quickly as he possibly can. For the folks that caught the Walk the Block episode that Jay and I did last Monday, we talked about the crypto promises that Trump made and the likelihood of a lot of them happening. And we said, well, there's a good chance, but at the same time, some of these things are not quite up to him. Yeah. This is about as good as you can make on those promises that are not directly in his control, because this is going to be the thing that allows the implementation of all those policies to accomplish his promise of making America the greatest crypto place in the world. It's like, I don't really know how you do that, but this is a great first step, I gotta say.
Great first step. Yep. Yeah. There was a lot of low-hanging fruit that we spoke about on that Monday episode last week, and this is certainly part of it. Right. There's something that he can't just executive order into existence, right? You have to go through Congress, right? And then you have to go through the Senate. So he can't do everything as easily as he did this one in particular, along with Ross Ulbricht, along with obviously encouraging Gary Gensler to get the fuck out of office. So those things were some low-hanging fruit. This is a fantastic start, and he did a lot. He did a lot over last week, right? He's like, yo, no CBDCs. That's perfect. And I don't know if we're gonna have the time to go over all of them, right? But it wasn't just this wasn't just with Trump. There's a lot of dominoes that kind of fell into place. Cynthia Lummis, she is now officially, right? She was obviously great speculation that she was going to be the front runner. She was the front runner to head the subcommittee for the Senate Banking Committee, and she got that position. So that's good. Obviously, she's the one running point on the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve. And then Hester Pierce, she was like, goodbye 121, hello 122. So they have officially replaced SAB 121 with Accounting Bulletin SAB 122. Right, so that's good. So all of these things are falling into place. So it didn't just come from the very tippy top. Right, we got some action in the SEC. We got some action at the Senate, and now. Right, it's one after the other, right? So yes, prices are down, but remember, bullish is bullish is bullish, and everything right now is again. This is a game to lose for the bulls, right? You're in the third quarter. You're in the final. You're in the fourth quarter. You're up by 20 points in a blowout scenario. This is your game to lose. Okay, so don't drop the damn ball.
Yeah, so, that is. Sorry, go for it, Will. What you got?
I was just gonna say, so he's also doing the digital asset markets working group thing, headed up by what's that dude's name?
David Sachs.
David Sachs, yes. So that's another cool thing that I thought is worth mentioning is like there is more things being, and like I'm not a terribly big fan of giving more power to the government, but I like that it's in my little niche that I'm super fond of. So I'm curious to see what happens with that. And I can't remember what David Sachs was. He the guy that was under Bush 1, or I'm probably misremembering people.
You are thinking of Paul Atkins, who was the SEC commissioner under Bush Jr.
Yep. Okay.
Although I can't remember if he actually also worked during his father's time as well, because he was in the SEC for a long time. He was only commissioner during the 2002 to 2008 stint. But yeah, David Sachs is I'm forgetting my.
He's the crypto czar.
That's what it is. He's crypto czar, but I'm trying to remember what his background is.
PayPal.
That's what it was. Yeah.
PayPal, and then he also runs a fairly large podcast.
So that's right. That's what it was. Okay. Yeah. So they've got this super cool new like thing going on. But anyways, in the next 6 months, it's supposed to like find a whole bunch of regulatory problems and fucking get rid of them and propose new like frameworks for the government to operate in. So I thought that was super cool. And they got folks from the Treasury, from the Justice Department, the Commerce, Homeland Security, financial regulatory agencies, like all sorts of things in this little team. So their goal is to try and like get rid of all the shitty laws, propose better ones, or maybe not get rid of the shitty laws, but at least identify things that can be changed and switched up quickly. So I'm pretty stoked to see what this little thing, that's the thing that stood out to me from this order, was that little digital asset market working group thing.
It's true. And yes, you are entirely correct on that, by the way. We have down towards the bottom. Here we go. This is section 4, establishment of the president's working group on digital asset markets. They have a lot of folks talking about the, including, they're going to be working with David Sachs, the special advisor for AI and crypto chair. That's him. We have Secretary of Treasury, Attorney General, Secretary of Commerce, DHS, a bunch of other folks. But down here on item B, we have within 30 days of the date of this order, the Department of the Treasury, the Department of Justice, and the SEC and other relevant agencies, the heads of which included in the working group, shall identify all regulations, guidance documents, orders, or other items that affect digital assets sector. Within 60 days of the date of this order, each agency shall submit chair recommendations with respect to whether each identified regulation, guidance document, order, or other item should be rescinded, modified, or for items other than regulations adopted into regulation. And then right below that, within 180 days of this order, the working group shall submit a report to the president through the APEP, which shall recommend regulatory and legislative proposals that advance the policies established in this order. So, how do you boys feel about that timeline? You have 30 days to identify everything pertaining to the digital asset sector, and you have 60 days to tell me what you want to do with it.
Yep.
I think it's good. People need timelines, right? They need deadlines because you can't just dilly-dally. And obviously, it's good for us because if you get all of your ducks in order within that timeline, and you get a framework sooner rather than later, it's just going to basically compound the run of the bull market. So sooner the better. Obviously, you don't want to just be lackadaisical about it, right? You want clear, concise, fair. So that process is going to take some time, but I think it's not going to take as much time as it would have if we had somebody else in the White House.
And then there's also like the first 100 days. Speaking of the White House, like the first 100 days in office is like the stereotypical like major timeline for presidents to enact like all of the biggest, coolest, best things. So the 30 days and then the 60 days, as far as like identifying problems and stuff, perhaps there can be solutions and workarounds that are still taken care of within that first 100-day timeline. So I think that it's super interesting, and we will see where it goes. But good thoughts, good feelings, and I don't think that they're set to make like things that are hindrances. That's specifically what they're working against, at least from my understanding of this document, is they're trying to find things that are slowing down the process of making American crypto great again, or whatever.
Yeah. Correct. But the reason I talk about the timeline, though, is, Will, as a former government employee yourself to some degree, does the government move quickly?
Oh, yeah, dude. The government's like fucking lickety-split lightning. You say something, you say you need something to happen, it's fucking done like within 30 to 50 seconds. So, but it's good that they're abiding by the standard that we all know and love. No, God, no, the government sucks. They're fucking slower than a snail.
You slowed rolled me there for so long.
Slower than like a stone snail, bro. It's fucking, they just dilly dally and drag along, get caught up in bureaucratic nightmares. That's why like the whole Elon Musk government of department efficiency and other such, and Vivek Ramaswamy and all those guys working together to try and turn this terrible machine into something that's like at least capable of getting some good stuff done. If there's one thing that we can guarantee or that we can count on, is that the government fucking sucks at getting shit done. So sometimes that works in our favor. Most of the time, it does not. So I'm happy to see these timelines being, I don't know, put into stone, put into writing, put into executive order, and we'll see what comes of it. Like right now, this is all words. This is all lip service. This is all like stuff being written down and like dictated. So we'll see what actually comes as a result of this. But
This is true. However, I think that our good friend Nuclear Herbs also is of the very same opinion as you and I on this one, which is that the government is usually historically very, very slow. And this timeline is very aggressive. If anything can be said about Trump's first week in office, he has done a lot. The only thing he has not done is gotten Congress to get going on the what is effectively going to be the one big beautiful bill that is going to contain all of his policy priorities, and unfortunately the pork from the other side that is required to get that through. But that's neither here nor there. Real quick though, folks, if you are not following Nuclear Herbs, go follow Nuclear Herbs on Twitter. He runs Pulse Chain Law School, and every week he puts out a new article or a new tweet thread talking about something regarding the legalese and the current crypto space going on. It is fantastic, but also he had a really good post the other day, which was he found a Fox Business interview with David Sachs. It is a 6-minute clip, and if you go watch that clip and you are not bullish at the end of it, we're going to have to check you for a pulse. It is fantastic. But what I really want to get to is this one, which, by the way, is one of my more favorite Herbs tweets, because he always is as a, when you work in fields that are very dry, like law, you find ways to inject comedy. So I'll start from the top real quick. He says, still reading and digesting this, the executive order, but my initial impression is it's incredibly positive for crypto. At first glance, I'm not sure I agree that this means the SEC has to dump the case against Richard Hart immediately, although it does appear that the SEC odds of winning the case appear to have gone from slim to much, much slimmer. If their chances were 2020 Ariana Grande before, their chances are 2025 Ariana Grande now.
oh man, the drama.
He's real funny on that one. But here's the meat and potatoes of what I saw on this one, which is that the part I find most interesting is the order that every relevant agency shall identify all regulations, guidance, documents, and other items within 30 days, and then also the 60-day timeline. My final thoughts on this. Government doesn't ever move this fast. Trump is not effing around, that's for sure. When's the last time, outside of some national emergency, did you see a dozen departments and agencies have to get a project of this scope done in 30 days? This should highlight that it's a legitimate priority for this administration, and we all should be celebrating that fact. Yeah, there it is.
I like it.
There it is, folks. Yeah, from the man himself, attorney, cyborg, 2-time Ironman and finisher, and he used to have in the bio hockey beer league champion as well. So,
and look, to extend the United States government a little bit of grace, you have to realize that the reason why they move at a snail's pace is because they have to. They can't be too brash with their actions, because they're collecting data from hundreds of millions of citizens, right? So a lot of data points, a lot of variables to consider. When you have that much shit to contend with, you can't move fast, right? But at the same time, you can't take forever to get things done. At some point, you just have to act, right? And so, yes, I think you have to extend them some grace in terms of, like, they can't act too fast. But at the end of the day, they also have the resources to be able to collect all of this data at an efficient manner, right? So I think 30 to 60 days, that's reasonable, man. Right? That's reasonable. Especially since you're only asking them for the crypto related stuff, man. All right. You don't have a lot to compile. All right. Let's be honest here. Okay, you don't have a lot to compile. So let's get on with it, please.
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, I think this is fantastic. I wish government operated like this more, but this is a very good start. With that being said, though, I do want to jump down a little bit further. There was one thing you mentioned, Jay, which was talking about the CBDCs. And in this case, we go all the way down to Section 1, Article 5, we have number 5, taking measures to protect Americans from the risk of central bank digital currencies, which threaten the stability of the financial system, individual privacy, and the sovereignty of the United States, including by prohibiting the establishment, issuance, circulation, and use of a CBDC within the jurisdiction of the United States. So there you go. CBDCs out officially by executive order, especially at the federal level. Outside of that, though, there is real quick. What do you guys think about that one?
I like it. Who wants a CBDC? Anybody who values freedom, sovereignty, privacy. We don't like CBDCs because if you think it's easy for the government to track you now, just wait until they can track your stuff on the blockchain, right? The blockchain is transparent.
You don't see nothing yet,
right? Everybody can see what's going on the blockchain. If the government, especially if they create a private, you know how like JP Morgan, like they have the private blockchain, right? So they can see everything, but only they can see it, right? Because I guarantee you right now, if CBDC wasn't in place, they're not going to put it on the public ledger, right? They're going to create a private one, like JP Morgan has with their Onyx blockchain, right? That's number one. So say goodbye to any illusion of privacy that you might have had. And plus, they can just turn it off just like that. Imagine they were like, you can only use the central bank digital dollar now, right? We're not taking credit cards anymore. No more cash, right? Can't use any of those. We are going strictly the CBDC route. Well, they don't like you, right? If you're a Canadian trucker and you're out there peacefully protesting, right? They turn you off like that. Maybe they put a negative tax, or maybe what's that called?
A negative interest rate.
Yes, a negative interest rate.
To promote spending instead of saving, because we got to energize the economy and we're just declaring it. It's like, how about no?
How about no? Okay. So just and that's just the surface level. Right. So that should scare you enough. Okay. So no, I will pass on the CBDCs. Thank you.
I have a slightly more cynical view. And while I'm happy that they're saying that it's illegal for the government to make CBDCs, I think that we're going to end up in the same sort of scenario where you have the government, nobody can go through your mail, but everyone can fish through your email. Everyone can fish through your phone calls. Everyone can fish through your text messages. So like, I'm while I'm happy to see that this is like one nail in the coffin or something like that, I think that we'll get something very much like the Five Eyes. I think it's called the Five Eyes Act or something, where it's like America can't spy on American citizens, but Australia can, the UK can, other Western countries can spy on American citizens, and the United States just takes the data from them. And like we all just kind of like Australia can't spy on Australian citizens, so the United States does it, and then we just give them the data. So like while I don't necessarily think that there will be a United States CBDC, like what Hexkin Lost in Asia was saying earlier, we already got one. It's USDC, right? Circle owns USDC. The Circle is owned by JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan Chase is the Federal Reserve, right? There's like I'm hopping through steps here very quickly, but if you guys want more information, go read out The Creature from Jekyll Island, and you might get a little bit more of a background information there. But like I think that as far as CBDCs go, they'll probably just use something that already exists, USDC. Maybe, I don't think they can do Tether. The new Skycoin that or Skynet that the DAI protocol is coming out with, the MakerDAO, excuse me, not DAI. Like I don't think it's going to come from the government. I think it's going to come from the private sector, and the government's just going to adopt it, just like they do with a lot of things. It's like, oh, it's not government, it's private sector, but the government uses, just like the Federal Reserve, for instance. So it's a good warm fuzzy to see the official, like, hey, we're not doing it, but it's like, oh, okay, so like I know who's not, but who's going to be the controlling mechanism here. So
that's fair. I think that is very healthy to be that skeptical of it, because especially as you just mentioned, they've done this in the past. They've figured out ways to get around it and all that stuff. But I will say one thing that does give me a little hope against the nightmare scenario that you just laid out is actually the article right above it. So this is the one that a lot of the Hexkins have been pointing out, myself included, aside from just that first one because of the persecution. But for anybody following the Richard Hart case, you would know that the main meat of the main argument that Richard Hart's team is pushing back the SEC with is that they just don't have jurisdiction. And you'll see here that magic word comes up again. So, Section 1, Article 4, providing regulatory clarity and certainty built on technology-neutral regulations, frameworks that account for emerging technologies, transparent decision-making, and well-defined jurisdictional regulatory boundaries, all of which are essential to supporting a vibrant and inclusive digital economy in digital assets, permissional blockchains, and distributed ledgers. The key there is well-defined jurisdictional regulatory boundaries. That is the exact argument that we're having with the Richard Hart case right now, saying that he's been operating in Finland, he's located in Finland, but there's some guy in Brooklyn that bought it, so therefore we have jurisdiction, right? And nope. This is an executive order that is actually aimed squarely at the SEC and other federal regulatory authorities, saying we are going to better define the jurisdictional boundaries so that we don't get these weird cases where they try to claim jurisdiction over anything and everything. This right here, in my opinion, is aimed right at that.
Agreed. Even without this, I don't see how the SEC can claim jurisdiction. That's just it's just a glare.
Mr. J, you were muted.
I was just gonna say that even without this little addition, it would be so difficult for the SEC to claim jurisdiction over the Richard Hart case, right? Because it's just a glaring example of how lazy some of these lawsuits are, right? If you took an hour out of your day to actually look into, okay, who is Richard Hart? Where is he located? Where was the asset created? Right? Like it would be a pretty cut and dry. Okay, man, the guy's in Finland. He created the asset in Finland. If anybody's going to have jurisdiction over him, it would be the Finnish government, right? It's like, and then to create an entire case based on you having jurisdiction over this particular asset, it's just so ridiculous, man. So, but hey, it's a nice ad for sure.
Definitely. I know this is me probably wish casting a little bit here, but anybody that's been like following me and Will talking about this kind of stuff, they probably know at this point that I am a large proponent of, I believe that the federal government has expanded too far and its authorities and powers are too large and broad breaching, and that this is one of the actual notable steps that I can point to and say, look, they're attempting to reel it back in. They're attempting to put it back in the box, as hard as it's going to be, but it's an attempt. And that's what this is what I've been wanting for so long. So I'm trying not to put all my eggs in this one basket here, but at the same time, it's like I can point to these things and say, look, here it is. It's right there. It's right there.
Yeah. Well, the pendulum. Go ahead. I was going to say the pendulum is definitely swinging to the other side, right? It just, again, because of the nature of government, the pendulum also swings to the other side at a slow pace, right? You see now an influx of younger, more the officials that are coming in now, right? At least a handful of them, right, are more in tune with the current generation. I wouldn't even say that, man. Their personality is of that they're more likely to pivot, right? They're not so entrenched in how it was always done and how it should be done, right? They're willing to consider breaking away from like the ossified system that we've basically gone on for a significant period of time and consider new approaches, right? And so I think, like the JD Vances, right? They're Vivek Ramaswamy's, they're much more willing to pivot and look at other scenarios, right? Where we're going to do better. That doesn't necessarily mean that we throw everything out, right? That's not what anybody's suggesting, right? But you can't just be like, no, this is how we've always done it. This is tradition and it has to stay that way. Like, no, just like with us, right? When we learn from our parents, when we learn from our ancestors, we take what's good and leave the bad behind. Right. And I think this is exactly this is a good display of what's happening. Right. They're not necessarily throwing everything out, but they're much more willing to pivot and change direction where necessary.
Very true. Tell you what, let's go ahead and I got one final point that I want to bring up with the executive order here. And I believe Will may have alluded to this earlier, which is that under the president's working group, we have this item right here, number 2. It says, the working group shall evaluate the potential creation and maintenance of a national digital asset stockpile and propose criteria for establishing such a stockpile, potentially derived from cryptocurrencies lawfully seized by the federal government through its law enforcement efforts. There you go. It's now an official documentation. The alluded to Bitcoin strategic reserve. But one thing people have been pointing out is, did you see the word Bitcoin appear in this document?
Nope.
Ah, interesting.
So any asset seized. Interesting indeed.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be
the
interesting.
Maxis.
Go ahead, Jay.
Go ahead, sir. I've been talking a lot, bro. So go ahead, please.
I was just gonna play a fun little oh, what do you call it, thought experiment, where I was thinking, like, man, what if they had like a donation asset address where you could just send a digital assets to as part of the strategic national reserve or whatever for the United States. Like if folks wanted to create their own cryptocurrencies and send them to the US government for hey, you wanna bolster the national reserve or something like that, send your shit coins over here.
Actually, I hadn't thought of that, but that's interesting.
Like,
is
hey, we
as
can
part
just
of the new
print the
project,
strategic reserve.
Yeah, as part of this new project launch, we're going to airdrop the U.S. government a little bit of it to give us ourselves a little more legitimacy.
Yeah, and then like, you know, I don't know, like it could be almost like a I don't know, maybe make it into a tax write-off or something. Like, oh boy, that could be fun. Imagine if you could just like take a barrel of oil out of your house and send it over to Fort Knox or wherever the hell they keep all that shit, and just be like, oh yeah, I'm contributing and I'm going to write it off my taxes or some fun stuff. Like there could be all sorts of fun things. So I don't know, guys, maybe you heard it here first. Maybe someone's already talked about this, but that was just an idea that sparked in my mind.
That's interesting. I mean, if you really want to get into the weeds on it, if the U.S. government is starting to build a crypto stockpile, then theoretically it means that they're willing to transact in crypto at some point. Imagine if you could pay taxes in crypto.
Don't pay your taxes. Don't pay your taxes in crypto. Don't pay your taxes in crypto. Don't give the government your crypto. Don't give the government your crypto.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Pay your taxes in fiat. Don't give the government your crypto. Please.
Use the
give
worst.
Them back their dirty trash money.
Yeah, give them back the dirty
take it back.
Money.
Well, so here's something I'm thinking about, Agent J, right? So I launched some shitcoin on Solana, right? And then I liquidity pair it with, you know, fucking like a fraction of a percent of nothingness. And then I print out, you know, whatever my tax value is by just creating more coins or something, and then I send that to the government, and voila, taxes paid. Like if the Federal Reserve can do it, if the Federal Reserve can do it, maybe I can do it too. You know, like if like we did it live here on stream. You know, frickin' Crypto Sloth showed us how to make coins on GoPulse, and then he created a liquidity pairing, and then he launched it up to the moon with basically like zero money. And then he crashed it back down to the floor again with like zero money, just to be like, hey guys, this is how liquidity works. And you can make holdings go up to create, like, this is what Binance does. This is how they give their coin value. Is Binance like the top, I don't know, fucking and I'm not the one that found this out. I want to say it wasn't Sami, but it was one of the people, one of the Pulsicans. They figured out that Binance is like, they got all of their value because like the top 100 wallets own 99.5% of the supply. And so only like 5% is in like the public domain. So it's really easy for them to control the price by only having so much of it like circulate around. So, you know, if you wanted to pay your taxes in crypto, you know, you could send to the IRS address and then like send them the transaction receipt of some coins that you printed out of thin air, created a liquidity pool for, launch the number up to zero, basically send them all your freely minted tokens. I mean, look, we have the ability now to do what the Federal Reserve does, where we can just print things out of nothingness, create a liquidity pool, and then like it has value, right? So I'm just saying, guys, this is big brain stuff here.
Big brain of pumping our shitcoin to pay taxes to the U.S. government, and then once they confirm receipt of it, we just absolutely rug the shit out of it.
There you go.
Well, the presumption is that we are. The presumption is that the shitcoin is going to have value. So there's that, the number one, and number two, I don't know if that falls underneath lawful use of
Yeah, probably
the
not.
technology.
Probably not. We're well into the weeds of shithousery
yeah,
and buffoonery on this one, but
we're
it's a
playing
fun thought experiment.
Fast and loose here with some of the rules. And yes, I get it. The federal government prints money out of thin air. I don't know if they extend that same. They're willing to extend that same power to their citizens.
Absolutely not. But Jay, I think you were going to bring up a point earlier when we mentioned that there's no mention of Bitcoin in the executive order for the crypto stockpile, which leads me to this article. Bitcoiners struggling with Trump's vague digital asset stockpile order. There you go. The almighty Bitcoiners are worried that their precious Bitcoin will not be included in the stockpile. They're being cut out of this lucrative deal.
No, I don't think so. I think it's just a bit more inclusive, right? The lefties would like that because it's more inclusive. They're not just talking about Bitcoin, right? Semantics, like the semantics are important, right? Because everybody was talking about a Bitcoin reserve, and then suddenly it's a digital asset stockpile. So people complain. I'm like, how could you see this as anything other than bullish? Yeah, sure, the maxis are going to be butthurt about it because it's not just Bitcoin, and they think every other asset in crypto not named Bitcoin is shit. So yeah, they're gonna get butthurt about it. But for the rest of us, this is like, how could you not? If you are a non-Bitcoin maxi, how could you see this as anything other than bullish?
Yeah,
right. It's like, come on, man. Right, like you're literally trying to nickel and dime DJT here, bro. Stop.
There's a lot of content creators and key opinion leaders, the KOLs and whatnot, that they're very particular in saying that like Bitcoin is not cryptocurrency. Bitcoin is the only thing, blah, blah. There is no second best, right? And just the like their little campfire story is getting shit on right now. It's getting pissed on from on high, and they're upset about it. And it's like, it's fair game. Like if you describe the world in a way that it's not for a very, very, very long time, and then you have to eat a realization sandwich that your little campfire story fairyland has just not caught the forest on fire, and it's like, and someone's pissing on it and is putting it out, then it's like, hey, you have a right to be sad for misinterpreting the world when you're shown that your misinterpretation is incorrect. And really, like, the only thing that they're going to have to do is just, like I said, eat a realization sandwich, eat a nice big old slice of humble pie, and come to terms with the fact that their coin was not mentioned in the thing that they wanted, in the thing that they've been cheering for, and the thing that they've been like yearning for so long. And it's just like, congratulations, guys. The rest of the world exists. You can come out of your cave and you can open your eyes up. It's whatever that movie was about, like the birds and the aliens that they never show. Bird Box. Yes. It's like, you can come out, you can open your eyes, you can be just fine, and that's the way that the world works. So I think it's funny.
Look, it is funny. Go for it.
I agree with Will that you're certainly entitled to feel that way. However, realize that don't get off your fucking high horse, because remember, this time last year we weren't in the position to be happy about a Bitcoin strategic reserve or a strategic stockpile. Okay? So, like, stop feeling so fucking entitled, because we're actually getting some good stuff right now. Remember, if it was somebody else here, you wouldn't have all the good things that we got in like literally a short amount of time. Literally within the hour he was signing executive orders, we got all of this good stuff. Okay? So stop feeling so damn entitled. We're getting some good stuff. Be thankful for it, you fucking children.
That's true. The reason I included this article is because you mentioned it, Jay, and it's also, I personally think it's a little bit of fun to poke some fun at the Bitcoin maxis, because like you said, every once in a while they do get up on their high horse there and believe that they are the only cryptocurrency. Please understand, we start off the shows doing technical analysis on Bitcoin because it leads the market, because it's tied to the rest of the market. We're not we are, I mean, not trying to dox us too much here, but I would argue that none of us probably have more than 10% of their portfolio in Bitcoin. But at the same time, Bitcoin is fundamental to the rest of the market, so that's why we pay attention to it. So even if Bitcoin is not specifically targeted for this strategic reserve, I bet you there's still going to be a good chunk of it that's in Bitcoin, but there's also hopefully going to be a good chunk of it that's in other diversified assets, because that's what you're supposed to do when you have a strategic reserve. You diversify to protect against risk. And if you're building a stockpile to protect against downside risk of other things like, I don't know, the US dollar, then yeah, it makes sense that there's going to be some diversification in there, especially if you're also at the same time trying to promote US based cryptocurrencies. So there you go. That's my 2 cents on it. And for the record, folks, if you want to know what a strategic reserve would look like, this is from the desk of Cynthia Lummis. This was actually proposed last year, July 31st, 2024. This was legislation that she carried to the floor, talking about how the Bitcoin Act establishes a Bitcoin strategic reserve to store as an additional store of value to bolster America's balance sheet and ensure the transparent management of Bitcoin holdings of the federal government. And in particular, it would implement a 1 million unit Bitcoin purchase program over a set period to acquire a total stake of approximately 5% of total Bitcoin supply. So there you go. As people know, I pulled this up the other day. I think right now, the U.S. government has about like 250,000 Bitcoin, which would mean the U.S. is trying to buy 750,000 Bitcoin to achieve this proposed legislation. If this does become something like that, that is a lot of buy pressure, folks. That is a lot.
And
I have it.
like,
Go ahead.
come on, guys. Like, you got Cynthia heading the subcommittee, right? This was on the 31st. This was literally less than a week after Trump's appearance at Bitcoin Nashville, right? Remember, as soon as Trump was done speaking, Cynthia came on stage like, guys, I got the bill drafted. Here you go. Right? So it's like, yo, like, be happy. It's so hard to please people, man. It's like,
I would agree. But I think there's one, or sorry, Will, go for it.
I have just a quick little campfire story for the folks at home. For those of you guys that believe in numerology and the fanciness of names, something that I learned earlier is that Cynthia Lummis actually means moonlight. So for those of you that don't know, Lumos in Latin, and it's spelled a little bit differently. Lumos in Latin
Harry
is
Potter.
light. Lumos in Latin is light, and Cynthia comes from the Greek word Cynthia, which is the word for the feminine form of Kunthios, which has to do with the moon. So for those of you that are curious, Cynthia Lummis, moonlight, like we might be going to the moon this cycle. She might be showing us the light that will take us all the way up to the moon. So there's a fun little campfire story for those of you guys that want one more reason to like Cynthia Lummis out of Wyoming. There you go.
There you go. I like it. I think that might be a little in the camp of wish casting of me for the federal government to throw the ring into Mountain Doom, so to speak, but 100%. That's not too bad. All right. And speaking of someone that's easy to please, though, do you think that Ross Ulbricht was easy to please when it came to the pardon?
Oh man, he made some cool videos after he got released that he put out on his Twitter. So go check those out, guys. It's freaking awesome. But go ahead with your with this article.
Is it? This was one of the promises that was made back at the Bitcoin conference that we were talking about exactly. And if you remember, again, back to the promises stream that we did with Jay, we said that it's very easy to accomplish because this is directly in his power. And he did it. And to even quote him, he said, called the U.S. president a man of his word. So the thank you that he got was, thank you so much, President Trump, for giving me this amazing blessing. I am so, so grateful to have my life back, to have my future back, to have this second chance. This is such an important moment for me and my whole family. There you go. There's the man himself.
Yeah.
Been in jail for 11 years, right?
Believe so.
Long time. Remember, 2 life sentences, 40 years, cherry on top, no parole. So
a third of his life. He's 36. 11 years, 1/3 of his life, like, passed in jail. It's nuts.
Yeah. You know, if you guys want a little bit of something to be grateful for, go to Ross's Twitter and read it. And you talk about somebody here who's just grateful for every single day that he's able to spend on Earth. even though he spent so much of that time in prison. Just look at what he posts on Twitter for like the past decade. Right.
Power of positivity.
Yeah, you you want a good example of somebody who's just grateful. Go through Ross's Twitter, man. So I'm very much looking forward, because look, he's certainly a champion in the space. I am very much interested to see, after he's he's done ironing out his personal life, right? Obviously, give the man some space and let him enjoy a little bit of time with his family and being back as a free man. But I am very interested to see what he does, if he does anything related to crypto, right? So if I were to put a timeline on it, I bet you his engine starts revving during the bear market, the 2026 bear market. I would be very interested to see what he works on, who he works with. So I'm excited to see what's in store for Ross, for sure.
Agreed. But I do have one other article that I think is a little more optimistic for both Jay, you and me, because we've covered it in the past as well. The SEC has canceled SAB 121. So can we get a real quick refresher? What did SAB 121 do?
SAB 121 basically said to the banks, if you would like to hold crypto on your balance sheet, you would have to back it, right? So you would have to have a reserve in your bank to hedge against the downside risk of crypto. And you would also have to list it as a liability, right? And so to folks at home, who the simplest way that I can explain it to you is that it's not the way banks conduct themselves when it comes to custody, right? You put your $1,000 at JP Morgan Chase, they're not required to hold $1,000 worth in reserve. If Donald Trump was to put $1 billion worth of money in that bank, JP Morgan is not required to hold $1 billion worth of dollars in their reserve, right? That's not how assets are treated, right? Because it's a significant liability. Somebody could go in there, shoot it up, give me all your money. There you go, there's $1 billion, right? That's one of the reasons why they do that fractional reserve banking thing, right? And so imagine if, let's say, Larry Fink, right? They wanted JP Morgan to custody some of their Bitcoin. Well, how much Bitcoin does BlackRock have now? They have a lot, right? Several 100,000 Bitcoin. Now, extrapolate that to today's price. You think JP Morgan is going to hold that equivalent dollar value in their bank? The answer is no, right? And so what SAB 121 basically did was turn off every single bank from holding crypto on their balance sheet to custody it for their customers. And 122 basically says goodbye to all of that. Right? Now, I know that the maxis are going to be like, well, that's not within the ethos of crypto, right? Why are you having middlemen hold your crypto? That's true. But remember, not everybody is a maxi like us, right? That wants to custody their assets. Some people want the illusion of security, right? And at the very minimum, banks like JP Morgan, like Wells Fargo, are insulated within the FDIC, right? The Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, which means if things were to go left and they collapsed, you can have some degree of confidence that you will get compensated, right?
By the taxpayers.
Yeah. Right?
Yep.
So some people want that kind of protection, right? So yes, they want the banks to custody their crypto. So 122 basically allows them to do that.
That's true. Yeah, this is something that we covered a while ago, along with the FIT 121 bill that unfortunately did not make it. But yeah, it seems very small that you can take one item in your account and move it from the asset category to the liabilities category, and that would have a major impact. But it does, and this is one of the concepts that even gets covered in Rich Dad Poor Dad, a very basic, simple idea, which is that you got to understand the difference between the two. It's like telling people that, yeah, you have a house, but does the house cost you money or does it make you money? Does you holding Bitcoin cost you money or does it make you money? That's the difference here. And that little switch, it seems so small and just like a technicality, but it's massive because the implications are also massive, especially when you're dealing with major players in the space like Jay, you were talking about, which is that if you are a bank, odds are you're probably transacting with a lot of money, which means that if your requirement went from not having to do a thing to magically holding a ton of money in reserve that you would like to deploy, that is a massive change.
Yeah. And I mean, if I was a bank, like, why am I going to incur that kind of risk?
Exactly.
So the answer is easy. I'm not going to custody anybody's Bitcoin. Right? I'm not going to. That's stupid. You know, like it's like, why would you walk around with $100,000 suitcase in MLK Drive in Jersey City, New Jersey? Right? Like why? That's dumb, right? Or you go to New York City at night before Giuliani took over, and you walked in Central Park with $1 million briefcase. Stupid, right? If I was a bank, why would I put myself through that kind of risk? And so it was an easy answer for them. Sorry, we can't hold your crypto. Well, now they can, thanks to 122.
Yep. And by the way, this action is coming courtesy of the new acting chair, Mark Uyeda. So, by the way, he is the acting chair. He's not the proposed real chair of the SEC, because that is supposed to be Paul Atkins. Paul Atkins is going to have to get confirmed by the Senate in order to take that. But until the time comes, Gary Gensler's out, Mark Uyeda in. And so far, I'm happy with this.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of things to be positive about, man. A lot of things to be positive about. If you're bearish right now, I don't know, man. I can't help you, bro. I really can't. If you're bearish right now, what? Because if you're bearish right now, I don't know what else to make you. How else to make you happy? Besides, like, green candles. That's about it, right? But for the rest of us, we will be grateful for the small wins, and I think that's an understatement because we didn't just get small wins over the past week, right? We got some big wins in rapid fire succession, right? So a little bit of gratitude, please.
I like it.
Yeah. Will, you got something?
No, I was going to dovetail into what you were saying earlier, Agent J, about like not everybody needs self-custody. Just like not everybody needs to know every single part and piece that works inside of their car. Not everyone needs to be a mechanic. It's a tool and it's awesome. And I highly recommend that you guys learn how to change your own oil. I highly recommend you know how to switch out windshield wipers and do like fluid checks and things, but it's not for everyone. So if you're okay with banks owning your crypto, if you're okay with BlackRock owning your, owning the receipt paper to your thing, like I obviously recommend self-custody. I obviously recommend that people learn how to give themselves sutures if you get a giant laceration on your arm. I recommend that people learn how to bake their own bread and how to do their own stuff, but not everyone needs to be sovereign. So the fact that there's another tool that exists for the people that want to give their sovereignty to other people is perfectly fine with me. So that's all that I had.
Yeah, that's completely right, bro. Like, give everybody the option to do so, because not everybody's comfortable changing their tires or changing their oil, like their oil. Not everybody's comfortable doing their own taxes. Not everybody's comfortable with the risk of holding their own crypto, right? Not everybody is comfortable with accepting the great responsibility that comes with having great power. Okay? And self-custody is great power, but it also means great responsibility, because when shit hits the fan, you can't go to JP Morgan and say, "Can you help me out here? I got scammed." You don't have that recourse. Okay? So give everybody, it's a tool. Give everybody the choice to use the tools that they want to use.
Yep.
It's true. And this is something that the actuator protocol guys kind of beat into my head a little bit, or at least give me a bit of an aha moment, which is that not all the tools have to be for everybody. And what they did with their actuator protocol, which is they're trying to effectively create a usable bond market for hex staking, is like, does everyone need to use that? No, I don't think so personally. but it allows people to have more tools in their tool belt that were not previously allowed. What that does is it keeps attracting more and more people. So you don't have to make the tool for everybody, but as long as there's a use case and there's a customer and the overall net benefit is for the entirety of the ecosystem, these are all excellent, excellent changes. So does it matter that people are always using centralized exchanges? No. Is it better that they kind of exist at the current moment? Yeah, for sure. We could very easily get into our very puritanical views and be like, no.
Yeah.
Centralized exchanges are against the ethos of crypto. Therefore, we have to never touch them ever. It's like, no. Understand that we operate in reality as much as we would love for this to be a vacuum. The truth is that we play a practical game in life, which is that we're trying to move this football wherever it may be, 1 yard at a time.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sorry, man, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You want mass adoption? You're going to get centralized entities. That doesn't mean you ignore the risk that exposes, right? Because obviously we are not like the cat is out of the box. You've opened Pandora's box. You now, right, risk centralizing Bitcoin, something that we never wanted to happen, right? But that box has been opened. You can't put it back inside. That doesn't mean you stop paying attention to it, right? But you have to move forward because complaining is not going to do you any good. Right? You want mass adoption? Well, guess what? Centralized entities are part and parcel of mass adoption. Sorry, right?
There's a thing that Mr. Funkmaster Hex is bringing up in the chats. He's talking about the Spider-Man quotes and specifically the Uncle Ben quotes. That with great power comes great responsibility, as you guys all know. And not everybody's ready for responsibility. Not everybody is ready for great power. Some people like to give their power to other folks, and that's perfectly fine. Everyone is capable and supposed to make their own decisions for themselves. And if you want to outsource your decision making, if you decide that you want to outsource your decision making, that's a tool that exists in your tool belt. And you are more than free. Yet, like, I don't know anything about anyone else's life. I barely know shit about my own life, right? So freaking decide the plan that you want to go with, own the mistakes that you make, learn from it, and adjust accordingly. But like at the end of the day, like you're the ones that have to deal with your own stuff. If you want to be responsible and have the power, awesome. And if you don't want to, also awesome. But just know that like whatever you decide is like that's the bed that you have to sleep in.
Yeah.
And
that's
all that I got.
Isn't this well within the spirit of the free market anyway?
Yeah.
Right? Let people choose, like decide and choose, man. Right? Yeah. Unless you're telling me you're a fucking communist.
Yep.
Right? Like let the market choose. The market wants a little bit of centralization because they want to custody at central banks. Well, guess what? There's a market for that. That's how the free market operates. Okay? I thought that's part of the foundation that we're standing on.
I would agree. Yeah, and part of that is also you got to allow people to fail too, which is that the choice is going to be there, the failure is going to be there, but with all that does come success in the winning cases. And when it comes to all the self-custody, it's absolutely still possible for you as an individual to come out on top as a winner.
Yeah.
Speaking of winners, and speaking of individuals, let's go ahead and shout out some individual winners that are over here in our motherfucking chats. All the folks that have joined us, we thank you all for watching us, by the way, whether you're catching us on the replay or watching us live. Each and every single one of you guys are important to me specifically and to the team and to everyone. And we love you guys. So starting off for our great and fantastic chats, we've got Mr. K. Hudson here. Got a hall pass. I like that you got a hall pass, broski. You don't need a hall pass to watch the Degen Roundtable. I forgot what we were talking about. It might have been something having to do with CBDCs and things like that, but it's good to see you, Mr. K. Hudson. Welcome to the stream. Glad we could have you today. Next after that, we've got a good real life friend of mine, Mr. Moonmutt. Good evening, my Degen friends. Good evening to you too, Mr. Moonmutt. Hope you're doing fantastic over where you're at. And I highly recommend that you guys go meet this dude and make friends with him because he's a super cool cat and y'all would benefit from doing so. After Mr. Moonbutt, we've got none other than another real-life friend of mine, Mr. Conspiracy Crypto. What's up, fam? What's up with you, Ramon? Good to see you. This guy, for those of you that don't know, he runs a crypto conspiracy channel over there on YouTube. Go check it out. He talks to some fantastic flat earth people. He talks to some awesome degens. He talks to all sorts of folks. Go check out his channel. Go see what's up. It's good to see you, Ramon. Welcome to the stream, buddy. After that, we've got Taylor with the Shaka and the skateboard. It's good to see you, Taylor. I actually tried out a new longboard that I had made the other day. on the subject of skateboards, I made a longboard out of a snowboard and some pieces of some C channel made out of aluminum. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And now I can go tearing through parking lots. I threw up a windsurfing sail on it, and so now I just fucking skyrocket down the asphalt. Good way to get hurt, do stuff. But it's good to see you, Taylor. Welcome to the stream. Shaka right back at you, amigo. Go tear it up. Go get some concrete. Go drop into some bowls and do all that good stuff. We've got another special comment here from Ramon. Trump 2027. All international settlements will now be in Trump token. Oh, look at that. We've got some. Is this a oh, this chart does not show everything, does it?
This is the hourly chart for
Okay.
Yeah, this is log.
Okay. I was going to say this does not look like the linear chart. But there we go, the Trump token.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if I can get all of the data, but that's pretty sure that's all of the data on the Trump token. It's like only a week old effectively. And well,
this is not all the data because this is the tether pair on Binance. Remember, Trump was released on Solana, so you're probably going to have a pair that's on Radium.
Yep. There was some other cool pairs, but basically Trump has done a big ol' up and a big ol' down. Hey, that's the correct log chart.
There you go.
Or Meteora, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, Meteora, either Meteora, Jupiter, or Radium, but I think Meteora has a pretty good amount of liquidity for that pair too. So
now you guys can ignore most of the chart because you didn't buy in the beginning. If odds are what they are, most of the vertical space in that is in between the $1 and the $10 mark. So congratulations if you bought it in there. I remember I found out about it at $7 and I was like, I'm not buying this stupid shit. No fucking way. And then it does this thing. But what you got this pulled up because of this comment here, Zenith. Let's why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about this silly degen.
I don't know. There's not much to say on this one. It's a meme coin. It's the meme coin that's made by arguably the most famous man in the world currently, and arguably the most powerful man in the world. What?
Because of Ramon's comment. It's hilarious.
Yeah, that was exactly that. That's why I brought it up.
So we're gonna now all international settlements will be in Trump token. So the United States is abandoning the dollar as far as the world digital reserve, or as far as the world reserve token, and you guys heard it here first. It's going to be in it's going to be in the old Trump token. Not financial advice. Do as you guys will. I'm certainly not buying any of that tokens. We're already at a $5 billion market cap.
This may be a little bit of TA though. I mean, we did have this low here.
Sure.
And then we are coming up on it now. And we also have a little bit of a low from back here in the very, very early times. So if we could form a support level, it's possible that it could start moving in the other direction. I'm just saying.
Double bottom, sure.
Yeah.
But I'm more interested to see it against Bitcoin.
Yep. That is the valuable sauce right there. We're going to continue on with these super chats so that way we can get through them all. Next up in the running, we've got ENJ Dub saying Johnny Chaos pointed out the Binance thing. You're correct. Shame on me for forgetting that Johnny Chaos was the one that did that, because we literally talked about it live on our very last show that we did here. So
good
shout
old
out to
Friday
Johnny
Night
Chaos.
Book Club.
Yep. Shout out to Johnny. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. That was an excellent, outstanding book club for those of you that
was a
haven't seen
treat.
it. Yeah, check out the Creature from Jekyll Island book club that we did. Johnny popped in about the hour 20 mark or something like that, and we just had a good old time and went on some rants about Binance. Thank you, ENJ Dub. Good to see you, amigo.
Yeah, I guess real quick is the TLDR for that. The Creature from Jekyll Island is about the creation of the Federal Reserve. Johnny Chaos came on and said, yes, you understand the creation of the Federal Reserve and why it's not a good thing. Cool, we're pretty much about to do the same thing with crypto, so please be aware. And we're like, oh, okay. So
right,
we had
again,
to ask
it circles back to that whole premise, right? You've opened the Pandora's box, and yes, Johnny's absolutely right. Do you risk creating the very exact same creature that you created on Jekyll Island? Yes, absolutely. Don't be ignorant to that, right? But you've opened the box.
That was literally one of the questions that we asked on stream to Johnny was like, is fractional reserve banking a Pandora's box that humans have created? Because now that we know how to do fractional reserve banking, we're going to try to do it everywhere, including the gold ETF markets or the Bitcoin ETF markets. It's like we can't get away from this thing. And the history repeats itself every time, which is like, oh, wow, bank runs turn out to be a thing.
Yeah.
And then we're like, wow, these coffers are real empty. Where'd all the money go? And they're like,
Big
"Oh."
surprise.
Like, dude, bro, it's like, are there things that I wish we could take away? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I would really fucking love it if we just took away the perpetuals on Bitcoin, right? Like no leverage, please, no shorts, no longs. That would be so wonderful. Everybody just buy spot or over the counter. That would be wonderful because then this kind of like crazy volatility that catches people off guard, like that's less likely to happen if you didn't have the perpetuals. I would love for that to be taken back, but you can't. Sorry. Okay. You
Degen's
can't have
gonna
your cake
degen,
and eat
baby.
it too. Huh?
Degen's going to degen.
Degen's
Yeah.
gonna degen, bro.
Can't have your cake and eat it too, bro. Sorry.
Sure. Tell you what, gentlemen, I think that was that about it for chats?
Yeah.
Oh, we've got one more. We've got our good
Sneaking
friend
in here.
Edwin Rodriguez, Rod Zimma in the house. Shout out to Rod. Good
Hello,
to see
sir.
you, amigo. Welcome to the chats.
Good to see you, big guy.
Had the ability to catch us right before we end our stream. On that note, gentlemen, we've covered a lot today.
I have a
Oh, you
final
got it.
question I want to go around the table real quick. How do we feel about week 1 of the new Amerikage? Was this more than you expected? Was this exactly what you expected, or was it less than what you expected?
Oh, more than expected. More than expected. I can't wait to see who he takes under his wing to be the 48 Kage. Maybe that's JD Vance. We'll see, man. We'll see. We shall see.
Will, what about you, my friend?
I was surprised by some things. I expected some things, and I can't say the only thing I was disappointed in is that he didn't free Ross Ulbricht on day 1 like he had promised, but he did free him. So, close enough.
Nickel and diming him, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah. I will free Ross Ulbricht. I don't know how he said it or what his thing was, but like I think that I think that it's very, very, very important to do the things that you say, and that's what like for those of you that are curious how to build your reputation, do the things that you say you're going to do and be very, very, very deliberate in what you say that you're going to do, and then do it with gusto and don't be a bitch, basically. So as like overall score though, how I would rate Trump's inauguration, I would say that it's better than expected. So all things considered, we're in the positive, baby.
Yep.
What about
I
you,
think I'm
Mr.
right there with you guys. I think this is a lot more than I expected, and it was quicker and more decisive than I expected as well.
Yes.
If you remember back to the Trump 1.0 administration, it was a lot of talking, a lot of like just throwing ideas out there and then moving slowly. But this was right out of the gate, decisive action, take it hard and directly. And one of the things I talked with Nuclear Herbs on the RH Max stream was, if you go look at the language in that executive order and you go look at the language from like the executive order that Biden made that actually got rescinded in Trump's new executive order, it was like the old executive order was talking about like, oh, we have to protect investors from these scammers, and we have to make sure that Bitcoin's not destroying the environment, and we have to ensure equitable access to cryptocurrency. This one was straight up like,
it's a lot of gay fucking platitudes. That's what that was.
It is a lot of, we're going to try to utilize this to save you from yourself and to further outside interests as well. This one was some good old John Smith, life, liberty, and property, baby. We are here to establish property rights and protect free markets. And the language was very definitive and decisive. And again, like I said earlier, I was not expecting crypto stuff to be this far up in the agenda. But here it is. There's also a lot of other stuff going on too. Like deportations have already started. We're actually looking at maybe going to fight the cartels with possibly some tier 1 operators. And Lord help them. May God have mercy on your soul, because they will not.
I think one of the first things we got to do when fighting the cartels is stop paying them with CIA operatives and US dollars. That would probably be thing number 1 to do, but I don't know. Maybe that supplied, maybe that artery is already, or not artery, maybe that vein's already been cut off. No, it would be artery. I don't know. Maybe that blood circulation element has already been cut off, but we shall see. I'm curious to see. And your point about him doing it fast is like, yeah, they've taken the training wheels off the bike. His second time going around is like, he's learned from the first time around and how shitty things went. And so him coming out of the gate so fucking strong and ready to rock and roll. It's like I'm curious to see how long the rider can sit on top of this bull and see if we can make some new records here and do some great stuff.
Because he's a businessman. And you know what they say about money, right? Money likes speed.
Money likes speed.
Money talks.
That's true. I will say, I think that the initial flurry of executive actions is now taken. I think things are going to start to slow down a little bit. That doesn't mean the drama is going to slow down, though, because I think the court, the legal system, and the administrative state is going to have a reaction that we have not quite seen just yet, but it's going to have a reaction. Because remember, he straight up axed all of the DEI programs and put those people on leave and is shut in office. And even then, even before Doge was technically a thing, people tried suing it as well. So lawsuits incoming, public reaction incoming, and the other big shoe that has not dropped yet is Trump's bill to get all of his policy proposals through. Congress is making some good actions so far, and they look like they're moving pretty quick. But again, the legislative body will always move slower than the president just because it's one man versus, what is it, like 473 people, I think, for the House of Representatives and 100 people in the Senate. So it's like, yeah, we're still yet to see the stuff that you can't do through executive order. That has to go through Congress. Congress is working on it. I expect to see some action shortly. But yeah, outside of that, Congress is actually doing great things. Cynthia Loomis was appointed as the chair of the subcommittee of digital assets. Good stuff there. Looking to see more of it in the future, but I'm also expecting to see backlash here in the near future, and we'll have to see what that looks like. Until then, though, I got to say, though, coming out the gate swinging, getting all of it done at once, swiftly, it's maybe pulling a little page out of the Prince by Machiavelli, which is take care of all the things quickly and at one time so that you can't just draw it out. There you go. The cruelties have been done once and swiftly so that they will soon be forgotten and only seen as good things.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Will, do the thing.
Jay, you had a final thought, and then let's go ahead and after your final thought, go ahead and tell the folks where they can find you and what you got going on.
I was just gonna say, is there gonna be a bit of backlash? Yeah, absolutely. But also remember the context at which we exist in now. The legacy media is dead, right? I don't know if you guys saw the most recent Zuck interview with Joe Rogan. That guy has done a 180, man. Right?
I will say that the Joe Rogan interview though did a very good job. Joe did a very good job of being like, yeah. See, you were all for censoring people, and then now all of a sudden you're just making a change? Why?
Yeah. Interesting.
And to be fair, right, Zuck gave... This is the reason why we like the 3-hour interviews, right? Because Zuck is in there. He's not... You're going to rehearse a 3-hour speech full of platitudes? No. Zuck was on the ball, right? He explained himself. Whether you believe him or not, that's up to you. I'm willing to extend him some grace, but it's very obvious what side of the aisle Zuck now lines up with, right? So legacy media is dead. Meta, Twitter, right? Especially Twitter, right? X with Elon, right? Now they're squarely on the side of free and open discourse. So is there going to be backlash? Absolutely. But are we behind the 8 ball like we were back in 2016 to 2020, and even up until 2024, right? When legacy media still ran pretty much everything. That's not the case anymore, man. So.
Very true. All right, Mr. J, where can the folks find you, and what do you got going on in the near future?
You could find me on Instagram at agent_J Schroth. Mostly, you could find me on X as well at _P90 Hex. Mostly, you can find me on the Telegram, where we produce a lot of content strictly for our Telegram members. So, if you want to get in on that alpha, like the damn video, comment, subscribe, scan the QR code, jump in there. And we'll see you around. Z?
Folks, I am Zenith. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, now known as X, at zenithdi. I'd like to thank RH Max. He coined that as the DI now stands for Distinguished Investor. It used to stand for Digital Investment, or Degenerate Interest, if you will. But yes, that is where you can find me. I got a lot of stuff going on over there. Stay tuned. We may have recorded some golf footage while in Vegas for the Pulse Chain Tour Masters event. That's coming up on the 9th of March, by the way. If you have not gotten your tickets yet for the Pulse Chain Tour, go check them out. They are There's limited space for the golf tournament for sure. As far as the other stuff, though, I believe there's limited space for VIP tickets, general admission, open as long as you can. And I believe that our code, I don't know if it's down there still, but our code might still be active, because if you use code DGEN at checkout, you might get 10% off your tickets if you are so lucky. But outside of that, one thing we didn't get to here was talking about the the Bitcoin or the crypto stockpile. We're going to be covering that tomorrow on the Walk the Block show. Myself, Jay, Tracker, and Dace will be over there talking about that, breaking down what it means and the potential impacts on the market if it goes according to plan. Fun fact, just remember that the movement of price is based on liquidity, not market cap. So we will be taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidity and seeing what that might have to do with price impact. Outside of that, though, folks, please follow me on Twitter. Go follow Walk the Block, follow Degen Roundtable, follow Will, follow Jay, follow Nuclear Herbs on Twitter. Go check them out. Other than that, though, tune in Wednesday. We're going to be talking about anime. I'll probably have the boys make the old 3x3 grid, and then we'll have to defend some hot takes that we may have.
No, it's gonna be favorite waifus only.
That's even a more contentious argument, but yeah, I'm down to have it.
Waifu's the anime wife, right? That's what that means.
Yes, sir, indeed.
Okay, excellent. Alrighty. Well, fantastic, folks. For those of you that don't know me, again, my name is Will Stevenson. You guys can find all of the stuff that I do, all of my Instagram, Twitter, oh shit, I forgot all the other Facebook, everything. It's over there, linked at will.pls.fyi. You can find it's similar to a Linktree or whatever. That's where all of that stuff is located at. And as far as stuff going on in the near future, like Zenith said, we're doing the anime stream on Wednesday. On Friday is book club. I'm going to be hosting the book we're going to be covering. Oh shoot, I don't have it pulled up right now. I need to look it up. I want to say it's
salt, fat, acid, heat.
Salt, fat, acid, heat. Yep, there we go. So we are going to be doing some cooking on the Degen Roundtable. We're going to be cooking not just in crypto and in games, but also cooking in real life, so you guys can understand how to make delicious food using only some salt and some fat and some acid and some heat. So there you go. Learn about cooking here over on the Degen Roundtable. Book clubs are on Fridays and things. And I got to pull up my little copywriting thing for the end of the show. So with that being said, and then again on Sunday, we'll be doing the same end of the week news show as we always do that you guys are watching right here, right now. Reminder for the folks at home, if this is your first time watching the Degen Roundtable, we are live every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 0 midnight London time, and some other things. So that's what we got going on there. Go Chiefs. Yes, absolutely. I don't know who the Chiefs are, but I hope they do great and they do awesome things. I want to thank all of you for spending your valuable time with us here on the Degen Roundtable. As Agent Jay often says, we know that time is your most valuable asset, and we appreciate you investing it right here with us. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Will Stevenson, but more importantly, you have been watching the Degen Roundtable. Mr. Producer, Zenith, if you would mind, go ahead and getting that trigger finger ready, because it's time to remind all the folks at home to remember to Degen responsibly.